Hello and a very warm welcome. You are watching Gravitas with me, Molly Gambhir. Russia is ready for a nuclear war. This is what the Russian President Vladimir Putin has declared. Listen to this before I tell you more.
Why do we need to use weapons of mass destruction? There has never been such a need.
То есть такая мысль вам в голову не приходила?
What for? Well, weapons exist to be used. We have our own principles. What do they mean? That we are ready to use weapons, including any weapons, including those you mentioned. If we are talking about the existence of the Russian state, about damaging our sovereignty and independence.
You heard that. If the existence of the Russian state is threatened, Putin will not shy away from using a nuclear weapon. The thing is, this is very much in line with Russia's security doctrine. And this is also Putin's warning to the West. He is basically saying, if you escalate things, I will press the nuclear button. Putin was speaking to the Russian state television. And through this, Putin was basically sending out a message to the NATO that Russia is prepared for the worst. It is prepared for a nuclear war. And just how serious is Vladimir Putin about pressing the nuclear button? Consider this. This is the second time in less than 2 weeks that the Russian leader is talking of a possible nuclear escalation. During his State of the Nation address in February, Putin said that Western countries will risk a nuclear war if they decide to send troops into Ukraine, adding that the West is forgetting that Russia has weapons that can hit them. Not just that, Putin also told the world that the West is creating the situation for a nuclear conflict, for the quote-unquote destruction of civilization. And less than 2 weeks on, Putin is back. He is once again talking of a possible nuclear war. He is telling the West that even if they send troops into Ukraine, it would not really change the situation on the ground. It's a downright insult, or muscle flexing, if you may. And Putin, by the way, is topping that with a declaration of Russia's nuclear war readiness.
If we are talking about official military contingents of foreign states in Ukraine, I am sure that this will not change the situation on the battlefield. This is the most important thing. Just as the supply of weapons does not change anything. From a military technical point of view, we are prepared, of course. The troops are constantly in a state of combat readiness. This is first. Second, this is also a generally accepted thing. Our nuclear triad is more modern than any other triad, and only we and the Americans have such a triad. We have made much more progress here. Ours is more modern, with all the nuclear components.
Nuclear triad here refers to the ability to launch nuclear weapons from land, sea and air. And Russia, let me remind you, has the world's largest stockpile of nuclear weapons. In fact, it possesses around 5,800 nuclear warheads. It has a range of nuclear weapon delivery systems, from cruise missiles and ballistic missiles to torpedoes, air-dropped bombs, anti-aircraft missiles, anti-ballistic missiles. The question is, how does the West stack up? As per the international campaign to abolish nuclear weapons, the United States has around 5,200 nuclear warheads. 5 nations are hosting a chunk of these weapons, by the way. Italy, Turkey, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. And then you have the United Kingdom with 225 nuclear warheads and France with 290 warheads. Is there a real risk that the West and Russia may end up firing a nuclear weapon at each other? The thing is, Putin has made His take on this question very clear. For him, the nuclear weapons are not merely ornamental. Weapons exist in order to use them. You heard Putin say that himself. It will be interesting to keep an eye out for how the West reacts to this interview. And just note the timing itself. It comes a day after America released a report highlighting how Washington is threatened by Russia's growing nuclear arsenal. We told you all about it on the show last night. Putin's explosive interview also comes in the days leading up to the presidential election that's scheduled for the 15th to 17th of March. Putin is guaranteed to win a fifth term and remain in office for another 6 years at least. In fact, we already have visuals coming in from Russia-controlled Mariupol. You can see the people voting in the Russian presidential election. Remember, less than 2 years ago, Mariupol was a Ukrainian territory. And on the ground in Ukraine, the war continues to kill. At least 3 people lost their lives in Sumy in eastern Ukraine after an apartment complex was hit by a Russian drone. Some 430 kilometers away in Marnorad, 2 people were killed in a bomb blast.
Why are they doing it to us? Curse them. My building got damaged. Why are they doing it to us?
Now, let me just remind you here that the war in Ukraine is 2 years old now. Is this a situation waiting to escalate is the question. Will it really take a nuclear turn? And what happens when someone presses the nuclear button? Perhaps stalemate no longer defines this war. Xi Jinping has become a mega dictator. Chinese president there has left no space for dissent, the opposition, or free thinking within the Chinese Communist Party or within China. This is the era of the total dictatorship of Xi Jinping. This is one of its latest victims, Li Jinping. He is the former vice president of China Development Bank, and he, by the way, is being investigated as I speak. Li has been placed under disciplinary and supervisory probe. He is accused of violating the CCP's discipline protocol and also the law. What exactly did Li do? We don't know, which is not surprising, of course, given that China never really opens its mouth in such high-profile cases. So it's safe to assume that Li Jinping did something to offend or upset Xi Jinping. And now the Central Commission for Discipline Inspection of the Chinese Communist Party is coming after him, as is China's top anti-corruption watchdog. It is called the National Commission for Supervision. Does the mega dictator Xi Jinping use graft as a stick to beat those who upset him? In the last year, we have seen the who's who of China disappear. From a serving defense minister to a serving foreign minister, not much has been disclosed about the cases or what really happened to the 2 men, Li Shangfu or Qin Gang. But the message that Xi Jinping's CCP tried to silently broadcast is that the 2 serving ministers were involved in some sort of corruption. And Xi Jinping, being the honest and brave leader that he is, did not think twice before cracking down on the top ministers. But to what end? You know, we keep hearing about China's crackdown on corrupt officials. We hear stories of the purge. Why is it that these stories never really end? The rise of Xi Jinping's total dictatorship has also been accompanied by total corruption in China. It's true. Have a look at what China's Supreme People's Procuratorate has said, that the 10th of March, it said that in 2023, 340 people in China's finance sector were charged with professional crimes. What kind of crimes, you ask? Insider trading, abuse of power, dereliction of duty. Some of the crimes were committed by staff of financial oversight departments. Like I mentioned, 340 were charged. The number indicates a year-on-year rise of nearly 35%. And it is the same trend across sectors. In the year 2023, China charged 300 people for crimes related to securities. Again, a year-on-year rise of 9.2%. During the annual parliamentary meetings, or what China calls two sessions, the chief of the Supreme People's Procuratorate read out some grim numbers, all highlighting the total corruption in China. Ying Yong said, in 2023, 27,000 people were charged with financial fraud and financial management irregularities. 18,000 others were accused of fundraising fraud and illegally taking deposits from the public. Ying promised that strict actions would be taken. But again, to what end is the question. The mega dictator Xi Jinping has failed to crack down on corruption. In the year 2012, the Chinese Communist Party launched a campaign against corruption. It promised a tiger hunt. And 11 years on, the failure of Xi Jinping's administration is out for the world to see. Graft is stunting Chinese growth, to say the least, pricking holes in Xi Jinping's elaborate dreams. A couple of months ago, we told you about the story of corruption in Chinese football. How Xi Jinping's dreams of making a splash in global football were punctured by corruption. Also, in which other country does the military fill its missiles with water instead of fuel? In January, Xi Jinping addressed a plenary session of the Central Commission for Disciple Inspection. There, Xi Jinping said, and I'm quoting, "We must never turn back, slack off, or show mercy in our fight against corruption." There is total corruption in China. But that, you see, is not stopping Xi Jinping from muscle flexing outside. Xi Jinping is building a China, Russia, Iran triumvirate. Exercises are underway in the Red Sea. War games have started in the Gulf of Oman. The navies of China, Iran and Russia are conducting joint exercises. This is their 5th joint drill in recent years. These drills are called Maritime Security Belt 2024. There is also representation from the navies of India, Azerbaijan, Oman, Kazakhstan, South Africa and Pakistan. As per Iran's state media, the goal of the joint exercise is to strengthen, quote-unquote, the security of international maritime trade, combating piracy and maritime terrorism. Now, don't forget that these drills in the Gulf of Oman come at a time when Western navies are fighting the Houthis in the Red Sea. A US-led naval coalition is also trying to patrol the Red Sea. But here you have the China-led triumvirate demonstrating to America that the US is not the only naval force in these waters. In India, the citizenship law has been notified weeks before the national election, and this has drawn sharp criticism from the opposition. The opposition has called it a ploy by the ruling BJP to polarize voters ahead of the general election. Meanwhile, the BJP-led government is hitting back, saying that the opposition is confusing the people. The BJP says that the citizenship law was part of its manifesto and it was passed in 2019. The central government has notified rules for the Citizenship Amendment Act, or the CAA, which was passed more than 4 years ago by the Indian Parliament. The CAA will benefit thousands of Hindus, Sikhs, Buddhists, Jain, Parsi or Christian migrants from India's neighboring nations, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, who entered India before December 31, 2014 and seek citizenship of India. The government is now in the implementation mode and has readied a portal for the convenience of the applicants, as the entire process will be online. The Ministry of Home Affairs has also announced that a helpline number will soon be launched to assist the applicants for Indian citizenship. The centre also notified committees to process the applications under the CAA. One of the big concerns is, should the Indian Muslims be worried? The government has clarified that the CAA has no provision to impact the citizenship of the 18 crore Indian Muslims who have equal rights like any other Indian, and that there is no provision in the law to impact them. On the question of, is there any provision or agreement for repatriating illegal Muslim migrants to Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan, the government says that India does not have any pact or agreement with any of these countries to repatriate migrants back to these countries. This Citizenship Act does not deal with the deportation of illegal immigrants, and therefore the concern of a section of the people, including Muslims and students, that the CAA is against the Muslim minorities is unjustifiable. The other question which many are asking is, can Muslims also seek Indian citizenship? The government of India clarifies that there is no bar on Muslims from anywhere in the world to seek Indian citizenship under Section 6 of the Citizenship Act. The opposition-ruled states, including Kerala and West Bengal, have said that they will not implement the CAA, but the centre has tweaked the rules so that the states will have very little say in the matter. It is D-Day for TikTok in the US. The Congress has voted on the legislation that could ban TikTok. 352 lawmakers have supported the bill, while 65 have opposed it. Among them were 50 Democrats and 15 Republicans. It's not yet clear what the fate of the measure will be in the Senate, but if it indeed becomes a law, which President Biden has said he would sign if it reaches his desk, ByteDance would be left with two options, basically. Number one, to sell TikTok within 6 months. Number two, say goodbye to the US app stores and web hosting platforms. It is what they say, a lose-lose situation. And what did TikTok have to say? It has blasted the House lawmakers' fast-tracking of the bill, basically. Also, their closed-door briefing for members last week concerning the app's national security concerns. Before the decision had come, China had issued a warning to the United States. Listen to this for yourself.
Although the United States has never found evidence that TikTok threatens US national security, it has never stopped suppressing TikTok. This kind of bullying behavior is used when one can no longer win in fair competition and disrupts the normal business activity of companies, damages the confidence of international investors in the investment environment, and damages normal global economic and trade order. In the end, this will inevitably come back to bite the United States itself.
Well, you heard that. China has openly said that the ban will come back to bite the US. The state media has also parroted that criticism. In fact, several Chinese newspapers ran satirical cartoons slamming America's move. Of course, China is crying foul. Like I told you yesterday, the firm is feeling threatened, so It's issuing empty threats of its own. Its desperate attempt to get American TikTokers to lobby for the app clearly backfired. It gave American lawmakers all the more reasons to get rid of TikTok for good. Now, all it can do is wait for the Congress vote and simmer in tension. And in the run-up to the vote, the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, has flagged another big concern. She says China could use TikTok to influence the 2024 US election. This year's annual threat assessment report mentioned something quite similar, by the way. It said TikTok accounts run by a Chinese government propaganda arm targeted candidates during the US midterm election cycle in 2022. The FBI Director Christopher Wray has also repeated that TikTok posed national security concerns. Clearly, the odds do not seem to be in TikTok's favor. It is drowning in skepticism and allegations. But what it does have is a loyal user base of 170 million Americans and 7 million small businesses. It has an army of TikTokers fighting for its cause. Also, the freedom of expression enthusiasts. Let's listen to their side of the story.
Any ban on TikTok is not just banning the freedom of expression. You are literally causing huge harm to our national economy. We have small business owners that are here and small business owners from across the country that use TikTok to move our economy forward. All of our social media platforms need to be treated equally and need to be treated the same way. And to single out TikTok in this way, we believe is dangerous and certainly against freedom of expression.
The Democratic representative Maxwell Frost, who is the first Gen Z congressman, has in fact warned President Joe Biden. He says signing the law would not be helpful as the president tries to court younger voters. Former President Donald Trump does not support the legislation either, even though he himself tried to ban TikTok during his tenure. And then there are the TikTok influencers and the content creators, of course. For them, this bill is basically going to decide if their monthly checks will come in or not. That's how crucial this is for them. And if TikTok is out, they will have to look for new jobs. The flying coffins continue to haunt the skies. After a plug door blowing out midair and a plane tire falling off midair, now an entire Boeing jet almost fell from the skies. I cannot help but ask, what is going on? What's wrong with Boeing? On Monday, a Boeing 787 Dreamliner operated by LATAM Airlines was en route Auckland in New Zealand. The plane had taken off from Sydney, Australia. It was evening. There were 263 passengers on board. What no one saw coming was a near-death experience. Sometime into the flight, there was a strong shake, and then suddenly the plane plunged. It lost altitude. It was a strong fall, what many passengers described as a wild ride. Because this happened mid-flight, passengers did not have their seatbelts on. They flew out of their seats, hit the plane's ceiling, babies fell from their seats. There was blood on the ceiling. One of the passengers said everyone was screaming, crying. There was blood on people's faces. Some 50 people were injured. At least one of them was seriously injured. The air traffic control was informed about the incident. At the Auckland airport, officials started racing against time to prepare for the incoming disaster. Dozens of ambulances were dispatched. Other medical vehicles were on standby. When the plane landed, passengers were given medical aid. But the question remains as to what really happened. One passenger said, once the plane landed, the pilot checked on the passengers. This passenger asked the pilot what had really happened. The pilot reportedly told him that he had temporarily lost control of the Boeing 787. My gauges just kind of went black on me. That's what the pilot reportedly said. LATAM, in case you did not know, is Chile's flag carrier. It was operating a Boeing 787 Dreamliner. This is a plane many airlines use for long-haul flights. And we spoke at length about the Dreamliner on the show last evening itself, about how a whistleblower who had exposed the dirty secrets of the Dreamliner's manufacturing unit was found dead. This whistleblower had told the world how many a times the Dreamliners are fitted with faulty or scrap parts. Basically, the whistleblower alleged that Boeing was compromising on safety. Does that explain what happened to this aircraft? Or is there another villain here? You see, there are many factors that result in turbulence or a sudden mid-air drop. I'm talking about changes in the wind, pressure, temperature. Sometimes it can be triggered by jet streams, storms, even a passing jet. What triggered the sudden drop of this Boeing Dreamliner is the question. The LATAM statement pointing at a quote-unquote technical event. Reports say authorities in New Zealand have seized the plane's black box. A thorough investigation is likely to reveal what really happened. In the meanwhile, Boeing has told an American media house that it was quote-unquote working to gather more information about the flight and will provide any support needed by the customers. Well, we suggest it can start by making Boeing planes safer. Yesterday was a historic day for India. The successful test of the Agni-5 missile is a huge milestone. And like we told you, the latest variant of the Agni missile is equipped with the MIRV technology, MIRV standing for Multiple Independently Targetable Re-Entry Vehicle. The missile basically is capable of carrying multiple warheads meant to hit multiple targets simultaneously. The MIRV can target multiple targets that can be hundreds of kilometers apart with a single missile. The test was named Mission Divyastra. The successful test of the missile with MIRV technology is a tremendous achievement for India. It is now among the limited number of countries with similar capabilities, like the US, Russia, the UK, China, France. It's a major boost to the country's defense capabilities. We got to the story of Agni-5 yesterday. We told you all about why it is a game changer. Tonight, we get to the story of those behind Agni-5. Meet Arshina Rani, who played a crucial role in developing the missile system. She is a scientist at the Advanced Systems Laboratory of the Defense Research Development Organization, DRDO, in Hyderabad. She is also called Divya Putri, which translates to Divine Daughter. That in itself should tell you about her contribution and why her role is being celebrated. The MIRV technology that I just mentioned is considered Rani's crowning glory. She and her DRDO team have been working towards developing it. So who is she? What's her story? It goes way back to the year 1999. She had joined the DRDO, or the Defense Research and Development Organization, after the Pokhran II nuclear tests, and since then she has contributed immensely to the Agni missile program. It's been an incredible journey for the 57-year-old who is regarded as a powerhouse of energy. Rani was born in Thiruvananthapuram. She lost her father at an early age when she was in class 10. She went on to pursue her engineering from the College of Engineering Trivandrum, CET. She was at the Vikram Sarabhai Space Center for 8 years. This was before she started her journey with the DRDO. And while with the DRDO, she has received several awards. This includes the Scientist of the Year Award in 2016. Rani has been associated with DRDO units that basically develop different subsystems of the Agni missile. She has been involved in checking the overall health of missiles. Who is her source of inspiration? India's missile man, former President Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Dr. Avinash Chander, who is a well-known missile technologist, has also played a huge part in mentoring her. And her story is a source of inspiration for millions of girls out there. She and her team, that includes other women scientists, of course, have played a pivotal role in strengthening India's defense capabilities and won hearts with their dedication and hard work. They say parenthood is challenging, but for mothers, the struggle is extra challenging. Beyond the physical toll on a woman's body, motherhood can also inflict damage on her career, her dreams, her goals. Now imagine being a chart-topping pop star and having to give up all of that to become a mother. That's what happened with British pop singer Lily Allen, who at the peak of her career had to step back from the spotlight. In a recent interview, Allen candidly tells the world she loves her children and they complete her, but having them, in her words, has totally ruined her career. She opened up about the challenges that she faced as a mother on the Radio Times podcast, talking about reconsidering her career strategy post-motherhood. The singer humorously admitted to lacking a strategy. She affirmed that her children indeed had a detrimental impact on her career. She says, and I'm quoting, "I mean, I love them and they complete me, but in terms of pop stardom, totally ruined it." And for her candidness, Allen is facing criticism online. But the thing is, no matter where you stand, as far as this debate is concerned, the bitter truth is this: motherhood does affect a woman's career. Lily Allen, who has seen most of her career success in the UK, has 3 #1 hits, 15 songs in the top 40. Her debut album, All Right Still, catapulted her to fame and resulted in a nomination for Best Alternative Music Album at the 2008 Grammy Awards. After giving birth to 2 daughters, Allen chose to take a step back from her singing career. She said she wanted to focus on raising her 2 daughters. She says that this decision stemmed from her own experience of not having her parents around when she was a child. Both her parents are from the entertainment industry. Allen's parents are actor Keith Allen and film producer Alison Owen. Meanwhile, her sister is the Game of Thrones actor Alfie Allen. The singer says that her parents' absence during her childhood left some scars and she does not want to repeat them for her children. Allen currently lives in New York City with her daughters and second husband, actor David Harbour. She emphasizes on the sacrifices that women have to make in the pursuit of both a career and motherhood and striking that balance. And in the same podcast, the singer says, and I'm quoting, "It really annoys me when people say you can have it all because quite frankly, you cannot," quote unquote. Allen talks about the harsh reality. The thing is, motherhood does impact careers, if not temporarily halting them. It is the price women have to pay. A motherhood tax, if you will, when trying to balance both professional and family life. In fact, research indicates that there is a consistent decline in mothers' labor market participation after childbirth. A study conducted by academics from the London School of Economics and Princeton University highlights that the responsibility of parenthood disproportionately affects women. While becoming a parent is a full-time job, the changes seen in parents' employment status after their first child is born proves that the responsibility overwhelmingly falls on women. While some mothers return to full-time work after a few months or years, others balance caring for children with part-time employment. Many do not go back to work at all, even a decade after childbirth. This is called the motherhood penalty. It represents the average amount by which a woman's probability of being employed declines after the birth of her first child. On average, 24% of women leave the labor force in the first year. 5 years later, 17% are still absent. And after 10 years, 15% leave work altogether. The thing is, what Lily Allen has said to many would be proof of the persistent challenges that women face in balancing career aspirations with parenthood. They say that it takes a village to raise a child, and that in itself is a strong reminder of how the responsibility needs to be shared and how ideas of family care duties need to constantly evolve. Throughout human history, for as long as we have lived, we have enjoyed beauty, we have loved it, we've cursed it at times, but we have always had something to do with it. Well, today researchers have unearthed what is believed to be one of the oldest tubes of lipstick ever found. It's a small, ornate stone vial containing a deep red paste. Ironically, it has been discovered in southeastern Iran, a country that banned makeup. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. The mineral components of this lipstick date back to 1936 BC, the Bronze Age, and guess what? They bear an uncanny resemblance to our modern-day lipstick recipes. The ingredients include hematite, darkened with manganite and braunite. They have traces of galena and anglicite mixed with vegetable waxes and other organic substances. In short, it is exactly what one would expect in a store-bought lipstick today. But wait, there's more. Is it a lipstick or lip paint? Researchers don't know. Its original consistency remains a mystery, but for researchers, this discovery draws a close connection between women of an ancient civilization to those of today. The ancient lipstick is carbon dated to between 1936 BC and 1687 BC. It was originally discovered in 2001 when a flood unearthed ancient graveyards. The flooding of the Halil River Valley, 25 miles south of Jiroft in Iran, exhumed the ancient ruins from what is believed to be the Bronze Age Marhasi civilization. A powerful people who are believed to have thrived alongside Mesopotamia. Researchers said the ancient lipstick vial, jewelry, weapons, ceramics were among the artifacts looted from the ruins and sold to antique markets. They were then recovered by Iranian officials. The lipstick was included in a collection at the Jiroft Archaeological Museum in Iran before it was analyzed by researchers from the Italian University of Padua, the Iranian University of Tehran, and the International Association for Mediterranean and Oriental Studies in Rome. The hand-carved stone vial is approximately 2 inches tall and 3/4 of an inch wide, slightly smaller than modern-day lipsticks. Now, this discovery, of course, is significant. It not only sheds light on ancient beauty rituals, but connects civilizations across the ages. You see, since time immemorial, human beings have resorted to beauty enhancement. It is part of human history, and while beauty has been a mainstay since the start of human civilization, it can also be an invitation to excess. Here's what I mean when I say that. Today, a viral trend has taken the world by storm, one which has even left beauty experts worried. It's tweens who are obsessed with skincare, and they are flooding beauty stores like never before to buy all kinds of creams, gels, face masks, facial peels. In fact, videos show kids flocking to beauty shops, eagerly selecting different skincare products, then sharing intricately detailed skincare routine videos on social media. One TikTok account called Garza Crew has gained popularity. It has over 4.8 million followers. It shows 7-year-old twins Koti and Haven posting get ready with me videos and using products like toners, facial sprays, peptide serums. Remember, these are children, sometimes as young as 4 to 6 years old. They are the ones increasingly adopting the glamorous skincare routines of social media influencers. Dermatologists are raising red flags. Do children really need those many products? Not to mention the adverse effects that these products can have on their skin. It can cause allergic reactions like burning, rashes, itching. And all of this begs the question, how are parents allowing this to happen? Dermatologists worry that preteens are falling for the hype without properly understanding what these skincare products really do. For example, retinol. It's a form of vitamin A, popular skincare ingredient that is used to improve the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles on aging skin. Tweens definitely do not need to use retinol. No wonder then a lot of young parents are complaining about, a lot of young patients are complaining about allergic reactions like redness, burning, scaling, rashes. Not just dermatologists, even beauty brands and store owners have expressed shock and concern over the number of young children buying these products. The question is, who is at fault here? Parents? Beauty brands? Social media? Well, we think that the buck stops at all of us, the society. Is this how we want to lead the younger generation? Is this how we tell our young ones to be the best versions of themselves? On that note, it's a wrap of this edition of Gravitas Tonight. This is me, Molly Gambhir, signing off. Thanks very much for watching. Good night.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening. As we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the